Brett, where did you get that nickname, The Butcher, from?
So, man, kind of weird story there. I mean, leading up to, my debut in the Open, these last couple of years have just been training, getting ready for that. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there's always this one guy on Instagram. He always commented on my photos. And he's like, The Butcher. He's just like, Brett, you should call yourself The Butcher. Like, I didn't think anything of it, because, like, you don't really think about that, while you're 2 years into an off season, not even thinking about it. But then when we came, then it came to the time, we competed, did well that weekend, like we'll talk about. But then, I'm sitting around thinking, I'm like, I need a nickname. Every good bodybuilder has a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
The Menace, everybody does. So, I kind of thought it over, talked it over with a few buddies, and like I was like, honestly, man, The Butcher's kind of catchy. I know he's like this random guy's been saying it for years, but it is catchy in regards to like what I am, what I bring to the table, especially with specifically with conditioning. I'm trying to bring those deep cuts with the Butcher outlet. And then another funny story is, and this is kind of what finalized it is, I think Joey Bell. He's a buddy of mine, so he had backstage pass to that Chicago Pro. And one story he always tells it that's hilarious to him, and like what solidified The Butcher was he kept coming back after the posing rounds. We were up there, we go through call outs, posing rounds, we come back, get our breath. And one thing he kept saying is like, after we came out the first time, we came back and everybody's kind of bent over, breathing hard, and I'm over there just standing, just looking at the ceiling, ready to go. Comes back after the next round, a few people on the ground, the other competitors I'm talking about, the other athletes, a few of them are breathing really hard. And he's like, geez, and he comes back, he looks at me, I'm just standing there, ready to go. He's like looking up at the ceiling, ready to go. And he goes, finally, the last time, he was like, they posed us pretty hard at the Chicago Pro. We went right, you were there, you went rounds and rounds and rounds. And he goes, the last time I went back there, it looked like a straight murder scene.
So he's kind of like you butchered everybody.
Yes, he's like, so I walk back there. He's like, Rolly's on the ground right there, can't breathe. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna say. He's like, that person was down on the ground. Everybody was either sitting down or laying down. And I just look, and you're standing there, staring up at the ceiling, catching your breath, ready to go another round. He's like, so The Butcher is perfect for what you do that weekend and moving forward.
There you go. Let's back it up a little bit though, because I want to know about Brett as a teenager or school. I did a little bit of research, not much because I like to just talk. I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
But I said you were an athlete in school in 4 different sports. If that's the correct info that I have.
Yeah. So grew up playing. Lucky enough, my dad was very sports oriented. He was actually like a teacher, a PE teacher, and then he coached me and everything. So growing up, it was all about sports.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I was one of those kids. The first thing I played with was a ball, and it never changed from there. So, 4 sports growing all the way up, and then when we went and transferred into, when it was time for college, I chose to play football.
Okay.
That's what my first love is the game of football, and absolutely, I was very successful at that in high school, and then also in college as well. It's kind of different back then, though. As I was a different being back then. I was 165 pounds.
Yeah.
I was a slot receiver, punt returner, kick returner. I was really, really quick. So I was really shifty, really fast. And, that's what I used in all those different sports. And, and that's what gave me this background of the competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
I just love to compete. So when football got done with college, I was still 165, 170 pounds. I wasn't going to go to the next level of, NFL, just being that size. So I needed to fill that void of, the competitive aspect of always having a goal or pushing myself for something. And that's kind of where my personal bodybuilding journey took off. There was after college, and I needed something to fill that gap of I always need to be doing something to fill that competitive void, and always with some vision of what's next.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that being a competitor in school already helped you with bodybuilding?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then what really helped me is I actually studied exercise science physiology in college. So I was my job, I had a work study or whatever you called it. I worked for the strength and conditioning department.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where, I get my background of, programming, progressive overload, how to, stretching, everything like that. So that's always been, it's always been a fun aspect for me is the training aspect, even when, the sports was always the reward, but I always enjoyed the training part of it. And then when the reward and the competitions got done, that's when we moved on to bodybuilding.
Right. So, how long were you an amateur before you turned pro? Because you turned pro in 2018, correct?
Turned pro in 2018. So with that, I didn't get into bodybuilding until, I met my wife, Ivana Vucic. So I met her in 2014, and she was already a pro figure athlete. She had just turned pro the fall before, and then I met her, and, we hit it off. And, I just didn't know anything about bodybuilding at the time. After college, I was doing my own bodybuilding, but I didn't know what I was doing it for. It's kind of crazy to look back on because, I was training like a bodybuilder.
So you basically lifting weights, and then after meeting your wife, she turned you into a bodybuilder.
Yes, yeah, and mainly so. I knew about the weightlifting, and I knew about that part of it and the intensity that needs. But she taught me how to eat. She really did teach me how to eat, because even when I met her, I was still 175 pounds. I loved to train. That's all I did, but I'd only eat 3 times a day. So the funny story there, and I shared it before, is I remember when we were first started dating, a couple weeks in, whatever, we're sitting out, hanging out all day, that initial lust where you just spend all day together.
Yeah. And
we're sitting around, and she's just finally she just breaks down. She's like, are we gonna ever eat? I'm just like, well, what do you mean? We had lunch, we had breakfast, we'll eat one more time, the 3 meals a day aspect, She's like, no, I eat 5-6 times a day, and all my meals are in my car, and I just have been so insecure to go grab them because you just don't ever eat. So then I was like, shit, this is what I'm missing. Fuck, let's go. So I started. That's really when it kind of was a kick in the ass of man, you gotta start eating. So that's when I multiplied that. Started doing the 5-6 meals a day, all quality meals, of course. But
did you guys train together?
Really taught me.
Did you guys train together at one point?
Yeah, off and on, especially starting out, smaller and stuff. Obviously, as we progress now, it's a little bit harder, but we still train together on shoulders and backs and things like that, and make videos and stuff like that. But, now, with legs and stuff, it's a whole different ball game. But it was, I give a lot of credit to her, because then with that, started eating like a bodybuilder. Then, that's when she was kind of rising through the ranks. She's been to 5 Olympias. I got to travel with her to all the Olympias. We'd go train with John Meadows on the weekends. And so I got so much knowledge there, met so many people in the industry. I was kind of, honestly, with people, looking back at it, I was kind of just that guy, just behind the scenes. I was always kind of right behind, over in the corner, just soaking in all this information, soaking in the lifestyle, and, putting in the work behind the scenes. So, I was going to the gym, training my ass off. And so I didn't know what I was training for at that point, though, because I really, with her thing, she was doing so well. She was placing, top 7, top 6 at the Olympia, that I didn't even think about really competing, myself. I was enjoying what I was doing. I was still working full time. I worked a lot. And finally, this is what happened is, and so in 2017, I talked her into, I had a lot of people reaching out to me hey, Brett, you look awesome, because at that point I was back, I was getting up to 210, 215, somewhere around there. And people were like, hey, can you write me a diet, or can you coach me and stuff? And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I've never even dieted. I don't know what a diet is. I've never cut down. And so finally I talked to her and I was like, I really want to try this competing thing. I want to get the knowledge in regards to dieting down for a show, what goes into that, what that feels like, so I can, pass that on to others. So with that, did that first prep, did a local show. It was in Omaha, those Midwest shows. And I went there and I won I even went into the novice. I won the novice overall, the open overall, and everything. So that was back in Classic Physique, because
that's where you turned pro, in Classic, right?
Yeah. So I didn't have any direction. I didn't have a coach. I did this all on my own. So that's right when Classic came out.
So but where did you get the information from that you needed?
You mean how to pose and things like that?
Yeah, just to get ready for a show.
Yeah. So no, I mean, Ivana definitely helped me, and my brother also competed, so he helped me as well.
Okay. So you got a little bit of info from your wife and her brother, okay?
Yeah, just from what they know, and so they kind of directed me. Like I said, I enjoyed the process. I want to learn, so I was doing some trial and error stuff with the diets and stuff. We went to that first show and did really well, and I remember, went there and cleaned house, and I remember it was actually Bubby Lupo. He's a judge. He grabbed me after the show and he goes, "You need to go to Junior Nationals next weekend." And I'm like, Junior Nationals, at that point I didn't even know what it was. I was just doing the show for fun,
Right.
And then like, I was like, he's like, you need to go next weekend. It's in the, it's 6 days. So I went from doing my first show. We're like, all right, I talked to Ivana. We, packed up the car and went there. And, I went from doing my first show within a week. I went and I got third place at Junior Nationals in Classic Physique out of like 35, 40 guys. And so back then they were doing top 2 was pro card. So I missed my pro card by 1 spot in that first show within competing.
That was 2017.
That was 2017. So then, then we went into our first real rebound, so first opportunity to see what a rebound does. And, with that, it kind of gave me the confidence that, I'm good at this. This is something I could be good at, at least let me run this and see what I can do. And, Ivana was supportive of that, let's go see what I can do. So I actually just came back that next year to Junior Nationals because it was in Chicago. It was a drive away from where we lived at the time. I really liked the venue. I liked the show. So we went back that year later. And then I won my class, and then I won the overall in 2018 weigh-in. I think I was 195 pounds at that show. And then that's kind of what freaking kicked everything off, man.
Funny thing is, though, you turned pro in Classic, but you never competed as a pro in Classic.
Never competed in the pros Classic.
So what made you say, okay, I'm a pro now. I'm in the pro league, yeah. But let me go I want to be a bodybuilder.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
Right. And honestly, man, Dennis, looking back at it, like, if I would have had like a coach or hired somebody or had, like I said, we were in Iowa at the time, so bodybuilding wasn't really a thing. There wasn't a big scene of it. Mm-hmm. If I would have looked back, like I would have probably went the route of, do bodybuilding. Just like, took another couple of years of kind of the build up, light, heavy, maybe heavyweight. But, without that knowledge, without that, I just wanted to compete. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to jump in and out. That category fit my weight at the time. But with that, so 2 weeks, it was only about 2 weeks after that Junior Nationals win, we decided to move out here to Denver. And so that was kind of the biggest step of my, honestly, I will contribute my success, contribute my bodybuilding journey to that move out here. I'm actually here right now. This is my office. I'm in Armbrust Pro Gym.
Okay, so you train at Dillon's. Okay.
Yeah. So I train out here. I've been here for 3.5 years now. So this is where, Phil, he trained out for all his Olympians. I built a good relationship with him, over these last couple of years just for being around. And like I said, when we moved out here, I just fully bought into the process, to the lifestyle, eliminated distractions. We eliminated a lot of distractions we had with all, the people you grow up with that don't understand what bodybuilding is. And like, we knew if we wanted to take this next step of, our journeys in this fitness industry, that we needed to go to a bigger market, a bigger area, like, like Denver.
So, but why choose Denver? Do you have family there, or was it just strictly because of Dylan's gym, Armbrust?
No, it was a little bit of Dylan's gym, but what it was, so at that time, Ivana was actually working with Dylan. So Dylan, he used to coach a lot more with, figure athletes. So he coached Candace Lewis Carter. And I remember her and her husband, like, introduced us to Dylan, and Ivana started working with Dylan. So, that during that time, she was getting ready for competitions. Around that time, I think in that a little bit, right before we went pro, we actually came out here just to visit. I was like, yeah, let's go meet Dylan. He seems like a great guy. Let's go see what this gym's all about.
Gym's awesome.
So we came out here. We were here for like 4 days and just absolutely loved it. Not only the gym, but just like everything around here. We went up to the mountains. The weather's amazing out here. Just the community in whole, and it just felt right. We're driving back to Iowa from Denver, and I'm just like, I look at her and I'm just like, you know what? Everything just felt right there, and like we're in a good position because I was at that time I was in between jobs. We were living with her brother and sister-in-law, like in their basement. And so I'm just like, you know what? We've been talking about making this next step. It's going to be a risk. We're going to leave all our family, but let's do this. Mm-hmm. So honestly, man, we just picked an apartment off of Google's map. Ordered it up. And we're like, let's do this. And so like I said, like 2-3 weeks later, we moved everything out here. On a limb. It wasn't easy at first, of course. Because I had to find income and everything like that. But what helped is Dylan here at the gym. He took me in, with open arms, and he's been nothing but a great, role model and figure to me. And it's crazy, like looking back on this journey that, we created.
Yeah. Plus, you have Phil Heath, which is another motivational kick in the same gym. It's got to help.
Yeah. I mean, and like, honestly, what Phil's helped me the most with is the mental aspect of everything. Because, Phil, like, you get him talking, like, he'll break down everything for you. He'll tell you his stories, his accomplishments, as well as, things that didn't go right for him too. So that was a great addition to this move, was just, building a friendship with him and, learning from him, and still, having that. I can always, I still talk to him a couple months. I had a big decision I needed to make last month, and I reached out to him and I get his opinion on things. So that's really helped me as well.
What's the situation in the gym now? What's the atmosphere like now with Phil not being there?
So, it didn't really change too much, just because, like, you got to think, I don't even think most people even know he moved. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I can go around and no one would even knew he moved. I know he moved, but the main thing is, like, because he would always, he would come late at night. He would come later at night, or he would just pop in during the day, walk around, say hi a few times, but he was never really in here training. And I don't blame him. He'd probably get distracted a lot and things like that. He kind of was on his own schedule. But he's definitely, in regards to me, it's definitely missed, just having that motivation. But his memorabilia, everything is still around here. So it's still like, you're chasing that ghost, and it's still, it fires me up every day, man.
Okay. So now, after you turned pro, let's just to get back to it. You did two shows in the 212?
Yeah. So we did 2 shows. So literally like a year later. So that June. So was
that still with no coach, or did you hook up with the coach by then?
So after I went pro, going into that fall, so when I was out here, that's when I started, like, I wanted to take that next step, and I was like, you know what, it's time for a coach. Being a pro, you always want those other eyes on you. Like, I can always learn more. So that's when I ran into Matt Jansen in July, late July of that year, out at USA's. I think he was actually competing. I met him at the gym, talked to him. I think he was even with Dallas and Michaela, and it was cool, like, running into that crew and, like, meeting everybody in person. And we kind of just hit it off, man. I just talked to him a little bit, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to bother you much, but I'd like to talk to you when you're done with your shows and stuff. And, we touched base that fall, and, I was like, I want to proceed with you. And then that's when I started working with Matt. With that is, I will say, that's pretty much when everything really took off. He saw that. He's like, man, you don't train like a classic guy. Like, you don't hold yourself back. Like, 'cause that's my thing, man. I'm all about, I'm about the process. I'm about the hard-nosed training, the intensity. And so I've never restricted myself. And I told him, I'm like, man, I'm not trying to hold myself to a category. Like, I love bodybuilding, and I want to see what I can do with this, And as you've seen, like, as I continue to get bigger, I've only looked better. So, that's not everybody's case, but for me it was. And so then we hit that first off season. I think I got up to like 242, in that first off season. And then, like, we got to that point, I was 242 and I was, like, relatively lean, and I'm like, there is no way I can make classic. I think my classic cutoff was 200 pounds and I was 242. I'm like, we would just be eating muscle. And so we decided, we were going to start prep to do a 212 show that year, or do 2 in a row. It was, Puerto Rico, and then we went straight to Toronto after that. So we, did that prep, going down. What I noticed, though, even, like, getting down there, like, right when I stalled out at like 225. I looked my best, looking back at pictures and everything. We have a picture of the gym here. I looked my best at like 225, and then anything else after that, I just started eating away muscle. So just that initial, coming out here, buying in, getting that, like, I put on a lot of muscle quickly. That, like, I couldn't even, like, to get back down to the weight limits, even the 212 weight limit, it was just eating away muscle, and it wasn't a great look. It was a good look. It wasn't a great look. And then, went and did, I think I got like 10th at Puerto Rico, my first show. I was really disappointed. And then we went to Toronto the next week, and then I got 6th, So, I mean, it is what it is, going from classic right to 212. But the main thing I got out of that was, like, I stopped, I looked at everything. I was like, I could be so much better than this if I was, if I just let myself grow and I did this the right way and took some time off. So I talked to Matt, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Open, and he was supportive. And then I think I wrote Tyler Mannion, just emailed he was the judge's feedback, and he agreed with me. He's like, you know what, I think that'd be your best option. So then that's when I decided to do something that not many people are willing to do. And that's, go into a 2-year off period, just train, eat.
Oh, so you took 2 years off before the Chicago Pro.
Yeah, so I competed in 2019 in June, and that was the 212 category, and I didn't compete again until July of 2021.
And that's where the first time I saw you. And
Yes.
And I got to tell you, and I don't know if you saw my commentary or heard what I said, that you absolutely stood out on that stage. Like, I would not have an issue with them giving you the win in Chicago. And I think you ended up, what, 4th?
At Chicago?
Yeah.
I got second.
Oh, shit. Why did I think you got 4th?
Because I got second behind Hunter, and then Hunter went and got 4th in the Olympia.
I was messed up, absolutely. And I said at the table, I said I had you winning. I had you winning.
Tell me that.
I said there was nobody even close to your condition. You looked. What impressed me the most is your polished look. You looked polished. It looked like it was fresh. It would, how old are you?
I'm 32.
So you're still young, but everything looked so polished. The color was on. The condition was out of this world. And for me, I was like, if this guy's not winning, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? So I don't really, I don't even know why I said 4th. Absolutely, you got 2nd. Because I remember I was sitting next to your wife at one point.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you literally break through, and what I didn't understand is why you didn't compete after that, and went on to do another show to qualify for the Olympia. What made you stop?
So with that, so I had some prior arrangements. I had a family obligation I had to do, which was on the same day as Tampa. So the only 2 options after that show were Tampa and then Texas. So Tampa was like the next week or 2 weeks after, and I had it. I did that. And then Texas, at that time, I had my training partner was Martin Fitzwater, and like he, we did that whole prep together. He got me ready for Chicago. I got him ready, and he ended up doing Texas. So it was like one of those things I wasn't gonna, I made that decision right after Chicago, and I was comfortable with it, man. Like really, honestly, like what I was able to do is like I know I'm going to be around here doing this for a while now, for moving forward, and I know like for me, it's like I want to continue to bring that wow factor. You know what I mean? So that wow factor of people not seeing me, I came out, shocked a little bit. And I want to do that again. So
they weren't shocked a little bit, my friend. That was a little bit. I was shocked, and I see everything. I've seen everything for the last 30 years. So I was impressed, and it's hard to impress me, the way you did, because you came out of nowhere. I mean, there was some buzz going on, pre-contest pictures. We saw what was coming, because you know what it is? In gym pictures, people got a good pump. They don't really deliver the same package on stage, because I know I was a victim of that myself.
Oh, absolutely.
But you came on stage and absolutely delivered, and that's why I was in such awe. But I just couldn't understand, and I kept saying, I hope he goes to Tampa or whatever show it was, that Texas after that, to get that qualification, because I think you are one of those guys with the condition that you bring, that can stand next to anyone.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, how much did you weigh in? I mean, the true weight on that stage, if you remember.
So. Yeah. So the day of the show, waking up, I was 242.
He was 2. How tall are you?
5'9".
Okay, so you're pretty. You're not short. Yeah, it was, and because of the condition, it looked like it was probably 250 or 260. It was crazy. It was crazy.
And so that's that was part of the reason. Like I know, I in my eyes, with Maz, like I know I can make some improvements too. So that's immediately what we went into. This next time I'm on stage, I know I'll be 250 or higher. Mm-hmm. And like with the improvements, and like I want to make something very undeniable in that I continue to improve, and the judges see that and reward that as well.
What did you change from switching from classic to open in the 2 years? What did you change in order to put so much size on? Because you must have gained at least like 10-15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, I mean it was just I wasn't restricting myself. I wasn't restricting my calories. I still, like I said, even from the beginning, I always trained like a bodybuilder, just hard nose, hard lifts, the basics, the compounds heavy with intensity. But now, with Matt, he taught me even how to eat more. You know what I mean? Like people don't realize, and I know Dennis, you do, and like I watch some of your stuff, is like people don't realize how much you have to eat to be an open bodybuilder.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like the training is fun. We love to train. We love to train. We love to pose. We love to, even cardio is not that bad. It's just it's the eating aspect that people don't understand. It's like, I spent 2 years, waking up in the middle of the night and having a 7th meal. And like people, and I think that's what people need to realize is like, this shit doesn't happen overnight, but it happens with, consistency, and it happens with doing stuff that people aren't willing to do.
Right.
And it just, the food is the biggest aspect it is for me. Even this, this off season, I was able to get up to 280, waking up, and it was just like, I'm at that point, I'm pretty miserable in regards to like always have to eat, but like, I know it will pay off because I've seen it pay off.
Do you force feed?
Yeah, I have to force feed for sure.
Yeah. I hate force feeding. See, I was a good eater. I was always hungry.
You were? Oh,
I was hungry to the point where I had to snack in between meals.
That's crazy.
That's why I got so heavy, because I was always hungry. Always.
And how do you only eat like 3 meals a day now?
Get your body used to it.
Yeah, get your body used to it. The muscle came down.
You got to get your body used to it, and it's not easy, But if you have a goal, it's the same way if you want to go the opposite way.
Right.
If you have a goal, you just chase it. And sooner or later, your body gets used to eating all those meals, and then this is normal. So now you say you're force feeding. But if somebody really, really force feeds, he can't do it for long, because it's going to go a couple of meals, and then it's like, ah. But you're force feeding and you get it down, which means your body is adjusted.
Yeah.
So it's still working. So what's the goal for 2022, my friend?
So the goal for 2022, and honestly, I was waiting to, I haven't announced it yet.
Wait before you say it. Put in for the Arnold.
So the goal for 2022, because I was waiting to come onto this show and announce it with Dennis, is I have already put in for the Arnold. I put it in 2 days ago. And so that, about a month ago, that's when Matt hit me up, and he's like, hey man, like, this is your opportunity. They're raising some prize money. You're a hot ticket right now. You've been putting in the work. Let's go for it. Because I think originally we were going to plan on New York. We were going to do New York, and then he called me, and I go, you know what? Let's run it, man. And so I talked to Ivana first. I talked to Dylan, the gym owner, got his opinion, and then I talked to Phil. That's what I called him about. And they all supported. They all said I should do it. So, officially today, or actually yesterday, was officially day 1 of prep. So we are in day 2 of prep for the Arnold Classic right now.
This makes the Arnold even more exciting, because I think this is going to be one of the Arnolds, and you probably heard me say that on my podcast before, that this is where somebody's going to break through again.
Yeah.
This is because, the top guys, I don't see it. Maybe Brandon. I don't know. Brandon might be in the show. I don't know. It's not sure. But I think this is going to be a chance for guys like you, Regan, and the younger guys to break through and prove a point. And listen, the money ain't bad either. I don't care. Hey, I don't care where you place. You can place second and still get as much as the winner the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So this will be perfect. So it's good to know. And the funny thing is, me and Ford, we get to watch it right there.
Yeah.
And get to watch you guys and get to commentate on it. So that's awesome. That's a good move, my friend. I really like that. I'm
excited, man. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm in a good spot mentally, physically. Like I said, I did my last little hoorah last weekend. I went back and saw family. Uh-huh. We went deer hunting, did some Christmas stuff. I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm gonna see you in 3 months. This is going to be it, man. So I'm gonna give it my all. And
after you're showing in Chicago, your motivation's got to be sky high, anyways. There's nothing that you won't do in order to get show up on that stage. And I believe you guys have a formula, And if the formula is there, you have a blueprint. You just got to follow instructions. I don't see why you shouldn't be on the Arnold, improved from Chicago,
Absolutely.
And prove a point. Nick proved a point. He just proved what he was been saying all along. You know what I'm saying? So you can go out there and prove a point yourself. So I'm really looking forward to it. What are you saying to some of the critics, naysayers, haters, call him what you want, saying, he's in danger, he's putting on too much muscle too fast. What do you say to those guys?
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
Man, I don't say nothing. You know that, like, I knew this time was coming, you know, especially right after Chicago. I was like, I remember talking to Ivana about it. I was like, you know, and now the haters can come out. You know, everyone supported the underdog that came out. You know, no one knew who he was, did well in Chicago. But now it's gonna start getting some more attention, and it's not gonna be relatively, you know, good attention.
Yeah.
The thing is, you know, I'm up to date on everything. I've been seeing people have been alerting me of these videos lately, saying I'm growing too fast.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Don't even focus on it, because the guys we know who we're talking about. It's just clickbait.
Yeah.
It's just clickbait and just, you know, just to say something. But at the end of it,
and I'm not saying you.
Go ahead.
You can do whatever you want on that. You know, if you still bringing me attention. Thing is, I know where, you know, I'm getting everything done. I just got my calcium score the other day. I'm getting everything done on my end, making sure my health is in track. We're in a great spot coming in, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, this is not a distraction. I kind of laugh at it, and, you know, look at, you know, I also, you know, I'm pretty close to Nick Walker as well, and like we kind of laugh about this stuff, you know, man, because I know he's been going through it for a while now too and stuff, but. You know, we're just going to continue to be us. We're going to do what we do and do it the right way.
Right.
And it doesn't affect me, man.
Well, haters is a sign of having success. Okay. If you don't have anybody hating on you, that means you're not doing well. You know, so take that as it is. And like I said, I tell this to everybody in this sport, you got to build a thick skin, because at the end of the day, you're going to get torn down. You can win the Olympia. You can still have people talk shit. And it just comes with the territory. You know what I mean? Is the connection still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were just kind of breaking up a little bit. I can still hear you.
Yeah, because I saw you froze on me for a second. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, don't pay that any mind, my man. Just focus on what you got to do. You know, do your prep, show up at the Arnold, and kill it. You know, you can't control the haters. You know, that's going to be there. No matter, you could walk away with the Olympia one day and you still have people talking about you, you know, in a negative way, saying you don't have this and you don't have that and you shouldn't have won. It's always the same. Yeah.
As you continue to get better in this sport, unfortunately, you're going to get more fans, but you're also going to get more haters. So
yeah.
I'm prepared for it. Like I said, I'm in a good circle, you know, being with like Fuad and all those guys. Like, you know, they've all experienced it. So I have people to bounce things off of and things like that. So I'm excited for it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything.
What else do you do other than bodybuilding? How do you block some of that negative energy and focus on something else? Do you have any hobbies or anything else that you do?
Like I said, yeah. So like I said, I like to, like last weekend, I like to go back and go hunting quite a bit. I grew up doing a lot of that. I always just like to, I'm someone that always has to keep myself busy. So, you know, waking up, I coach quite a few clients. I have about 30 to 35 clients, competitor clients. I help out, you know.
So online? Online.
Yeah, online,
okay.
All nationwide. Some around here at the gym as well. I still train a few. I don't necessarily need to, but like I said, I just like to be on my feet a lot. And so that way, you know, especially if you notice, like, especially in preps and stuff, because I don't need to do much cardio. You know, I just need to do a limited amount, you know, 20 to 25 minutes.
That's it?
Because my cardio never really went over 25 minutes this last prep.
Wow.
But I'm also super active during the day, always moving. So I think that contributes to as well. You know, I was still training some people on my feet all day and things like that. But like I said, you know, one benefit of living out here in Colorado is all the beautiful things you can do out here. So we like to go up the mountain quite a bit.
You ski?
Funny story there is I grew up, you know, we'd come out here every winter, you know, me and my friends, my dad, you know, all the way until I was probably like 24, you know, 16 through 24, always went snowboarding. So had a blast always doing that. When I moved out here, like I said, after I put that weight on initially, I went up snowboarding with some buddies, and I think I was like 250, maybe 260 at that time.
And it wasn't the same.
I went down that mountain one time, that first run. When I got to the bottom, my low back was locked up. My back quad was completely cramped up. My feet were hurting so bad. I literally took the boots off. I took my snowboard. I threw them, and I told the other guys, "I'll see you in the cabin." And like, I didn't snowboard the rest of the weekend. So it's like some things you got to give up. You know that, like, unfortunately, you got to give up some hobbies, especially like sports and things like that. There's no more playing basketball, things like that. So I learned that the hard way, but I will be back. You know that when I get down the road.
When you get my age and you start,
I'll be able to get back up there.
When you get my age and start losing the weight again, you'll be back on the snowboard. So when you look at the new, when you look at last year's Olympia, and you look at the newer guys like Nick and Hunter moving into the top 4, where do you see yourself in the future? What do you see? What this when you go to sleep at night, where do you see yourself going in 2022?
I mean, with that past, with that 2020 Olympia, man, that gave me a lot of confidence because, the only person I've lost to in the Open, I mean, so far, it's one show, is, Hunter. Hunter, and he went out there and he got 4th at the Olympia, and within months after we competed.
Do you think Hunter was better at the Olympia than in Chicago?
He was. I think he was a little bit better.
Okay.
His back was a little bit better. I mean, he was still holding quite a bit of water, I thought. But overall, I think he was a tad better. But so would I have been at that point too. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like you're just comparing it. What it would have been. So that gives me a lot of confidence. And like, because my physique matches up very well with his thing structurally as well too. If I was gonna say, do you have structurally wise, you look closer to like a Hunter or like a Nick. I mean, obviously say like a Hunter and match up there well. So the thing is, those are guys that I see myself, in these coming years being standing next to quite a bit. And we saw that, that new crop is kind of coming in, with the, those, that 4th through 8th place guys. And I think I would have fit in right in there, this Olympia. And now I want to show that coming into next year, 2022.
Okay. So what's the goal for 2022? What is your ultimate goal in your mind right now? What are you telling yourself? You get ready for the Arnold. Of course, you want to win the Arnold, but what's the goal? Ultimately, you want to qualify for the Olympia, correct?
Ultimately, I want to qualify for the Olympia. And I'd be lying if I'm not saying that goal was not to win the Arnold and then qualify for the Olympia. That's a dream come true, to win an Arnold. But then, win it in March and then not compete in the Olympia until December, that'd be amazing. You got that time off.
Exactly.
You can rest for a few months.
Exactly.
You can grow for a few months, then you can prep for a few months. Like, ideally, that would be, best case scenario. And that's why, that focus is so on right now, is that's what I want to accomplish. And then if you can do that, I'm set, man. That'd be amazing.
That sounds like a good plan, man. Sounds like a good. I think don't the top 3 qualify at the Arnold? Top 3?
No, they just do top 1. I think they
changed
like,
it. I know.
More. So it's like you second or third.
Oh, okay. Because they used to be the top 3.
Really? Yeah. Not anymore. That'd be nice.
Last year, the last Arnold was only the winner because that would have been, because they wanted to get one guy to qualify for that same year's Olympia, because September would be after the deadline. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the top 3 at the Olympia that qualify at the Arnold that qualify for the Olympia. I don't see why they should change it. It's been top 3 for quite some time.
Okay, no, I hope so. Maybe last year, just because where it was placed, I was different.
Exactly. They just usually last year would have been no qualification, and then it would have been for the following year. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did change it. I don't know. I don't follow everything 100% because last thing I remember is top 3 at the Arnold, because that's why. Wait a minute. No, it's not. It's not no longer because.
Yeah, I think it's just top 1, and then like second, third, fourth, they get extra points. You get like amplified points.
Right. It's no longer, because that's why Rami didn't qualify when he got 3rd at the Arnold in 2020.
Yes.
Okay. So it's no longer top 3. Okay. Well, listen, but the prize money is great for the top 5. I guarantee you, because I know it's 200, 130, I think 75. I mean, listen, you can place 3rd and you make 3 times the amount you make at the New York Pro. Not that the New York Pro is a bad show, because I think the New York Pro is a great show, But you're at that level where I think you should be at the Arnold, and you can do very well, and especially this year, it's going to be unbelievable. Well, how is it living with an IFB Figure Pro And what is it like if both guys on this getting ready for a show at the same time? How is that? Is there any arguments over food or any who is more moody when they're on a diet? Is it you or is it her?
Well, moody wise, probably me in regards to like. Thing is, I'm never. I know you haven't met me very much, but people around me like I'm very chill. So when I get close to the show, I don't get moody. I get quiet.
Yeah.
I just get super quiet. I keep to myself. It's funny you asked about that because Ivana and I have actually all our shows we have actually prepped together. We actually enjoy to prep together because it just makes for us, and this is definitely probably different than other relationships, but for us, like, that team aspect of, locking in together, getting all the bullshit out of the house, not having like one of us going and doing stuff on the weekend while the other one's at home, prepping or sleeping, so it's like, we actually enjoy, like, even for the Arnold, she's not competing at the Arnold, but she's going to be doing, she's going to be like starting her prep or like, acting that way for a show after the Arnold or something after that, just because we, as a couple, we clip better that way. And it's like, it's more rewarding as well. When you get to that show together, get that done, you enjoy those things after the show together. So, we've done it that way, the last 3-4 shows, and we'll probably continue to do it that way as well.
That's awesome though. Cause some people can get along and some people don't, some depending on how much they suffer while dieting. I guess you guys just, the chemistry, it's got to be perfect. Who cooks? Who does the cooking? Who does the cleaning?
So mainly I do. I don't do the cleaning. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much right now. I'm not the best at doing the cleaning. I get in trouble for that a lot. But I make up for it because I do a lot of the cooking. Luckily lately we've been getting, we've been doing a lot more of like meal prep companies. We have a, company down the road from us that cooks our chicken for us, but then I cook everything else at home with, the beef, the fish. She'll do some of hers as well. But it just works out. We kind of pick and choose our things, what she's good at, what I'm a little bit better at. And then, a lot of times, Dennis, I just follow instructions, We're not gonna create any issues there.
It's the easiest way to get along if you just follow and just don't say a lot, Do you prep ahead of time or you just cook meals fresh?
Right. So I'll prep ahead of time. I don't know how people do that, man. Like, I know talking to Ian, like he weighs out all his food, raw and then cooks it. And I'm like, I don't have the time in the day to do that. I don't feel like, or do I have the patience? Yeah. So, when I cook, I'll cook in bulk, but I mean, just for like 2-3 days, keep it in Tupperware, but I couldn't do every meal. Maybe down the road where I'm more full-time bodybuilder and everything's, paid for and everything that I can apply that much time, but I still prep things up.
Yeah. I was never that. I always, every meal was cooked when I had to eat it, just before. Always. I only prepped foods when I traveled. And there was no. But when I'm home, the meal. If I have to eat at 2:00, well, the food will be done at 1:45. It's always fresh. I was never a prep guy. Cook ahead of time. No, it wasn't me. I'm talking like I was doing it. I never cooked. It's my wife. She always prepped every single meal fresh. I did not even use a microwave. That was. I was
gonna say. I mean, I was like, did you find yourself cooking about 6 hours of the day?
No, it's not like I can. If I'm, there's certain times where when I'm somewhere else, I'm at in an apartment, I cook my own meals. When I was prepping for the Olympia, I left Thailand. The last 2-3 months, stayed in California. I cooked my meals, every single meal too, because I can cook what I want to eat. I'm not a good cook. It's just when you're dieting at the end, the last month or two, you'll eat whatever. It doesn't matter if it's dry or not dry. You throw a little ketchup, some mustard on it, and I'm good to go. But at home, she does all the cooking, and still to this day. So now I know what I wanted to ask you. Are you sponsored by anyone? Do you have
yeah, so so it's been that was a good thing, with the whole Chicago, and like before Chicago I didn't have a supplement sponsor leading up to that. I was just like, I don't want those distractions. I knew we were gonna bring something good, and I was like, I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna capitalize on this, and that's when I'm gonna pick a sponsor and wait until after the show to do all my things. So that's kind of what actually led me to, I'm with Hostile Supplements. So I'm with Fuad now.
Oh, okay. So you signed with Fuad. Awesome.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. Like he actually interviewed me right before the show. I think he picked me. We still laugh about it. He's like, he picked me to get 9th in that show.
No, did he really?
Yeah, I think I still always give him shit about that. And the funny thing is, when I did the prejudging, and then in between prejudging and finals, I had a voice memo from him. He's just like, oh, I can't believe I said it. I'm so sorry, but honestly, I want to talk to you about, joining the team after this when you settle down and everything like that. So it all came together really well because then, my wife, came with me. We both joined Hostile Supplements.
See, I didn't know. I didn't even know.
Yeah, so that's what's going to be really cool about the Arnold as well, is having you, him up there with you, and having, real guys, real knowledgeable, but bodybuilders talking about the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
But the good thing, also the good thing is, and in Ford it's the same. Friends, no friends, it doesn't matter. We'll say what we see. I mean, if anybody's off. And he has no filter when it comes to that either. So that's why I'm really surprised that he picked you coming in 9th at the Chicago Pro. I mean, I didn't even know they had 9 competitors. How would he get to 9th? Because the only big names in the show were Hunter, Rolly. Who else was in the show?
Hassan.
Yeah, I don't know how he can get to
Charles.
How he can put you all the way to 9th. Just off the base, based off the photos that you posted. I had you as somebody that's fighting
honestly,
for a top spot.
And honestly, a lot of I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. They were like, why were you so slept on with your you were still posting these photos? Because someone went back and commented on old photos your lead up to the show. And I go, you gotta realize this. And you said this earlier in this podcast, is it doesn't transition all the time. We've seen guys that look absolutely amazing on their own Instagram and stuff, and it's always a disappointment on stage. So it's I'm not actually, I was never mad at Fuad, because I'm you didn't know what I was going to look like. You didn't know how big I was going to be next to these guys. You can't just go off of, just Instagram photos, because I don't anymore. I don't really get impressed. I mean, besides some of your gym training pics of you that you put up, I'm I don't really.
But
I don't really get too impressed, because you don't know whether it's going to transition to.
Exactly.
So you gotta wait and see them stand next to somebody. And I think that's something that I have a really good benefit from, is when I do stand next to people, I can expose them in certain ways.
Sure.
Structurally, conditioning wise, and things like that.
You sure did. And like you said, there's not a lot of people that look like the pictures in after the full gym pump and the good light, and it's totally different than when you step on stage depleted, water depleted, and you came across looking even better than in the pictures. Maybe not as full, but your condition was just so unbelievable, and you don't see that no more today. That's why I was so impressed, because you brought condition back that we were used to seeing back in the 90s, early 2000s, where almost everybody was conditioned, and nowadays you don't really see that anymore. So when somebody comes in and conditioned like you stand out. You stood out. Let me give you an example. You stood out next to the other guys like Andreas Münzer used to stand out to the guys next to him. You remember Andreas Münzer?
Probably most conditioned guy ever.
Yeah, and that was just so good to see, and I hope you can keep that up, because I know it's not easy to get in that kind of shape. Nobody gets in that kind of shape because he has the genetics for it. You got to work hard, and it's going to take a lot of sacrifice, and it might not take a lot of cardio, but it's going to take a lot of moving around all day and a lot of lifting weights in a faster, higher pace. So I know how to appreciate someone in your kind of condition, because it doesn't even feel too good to be that lean, for so long. So I know,
Nothing feels good enough.
Yeah. So, brother, man, I appreciate you coming on talking to me, man. It was a good talk. I didn't think you were like that talk active, because when I see you on the pro chat, sometimes you like to just sit and listen, So I'm actually impressed again that you're somebody that likes to talk. So I think it was a great podcast, my friend.
Well, I mean, I love to talk. It's just when you get me on those podcasts with Guy and Ian, you never. So you just kind of enjoy it.
Yeah. So hey, man.
Lastly, real quick,
go ahead.
lastly, real quick, you said the sponsor. I got to give a big shout out to Gasp and Better Bodies. They've been with me, for this last year and a half, and so they, Michael Johansson down there, he has always been a huge sport to me, and so I wanted to make sure I shout them out as well. So they're great company, great people down there.
Michael is a great guy, because I remember when Rami was here for the Olympia, I sent him a message. I said, Rami likes that one shirt. He immediately sent the care package to Rami, sent it to my house, and he absolutely loves that stuff. So, yeah, absolutely, brother. He's a good guy. He's been around. I remember him when he came to the U.S. Back in 2008 or 9, around there. I remember exactly. So, yeah, man, it's good to see you doing well, my man. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, you coming to the Arnold and just bring some new, fresh air and condition that everybody's looking forward to. So stay blessed, my friend. Say hi to your wife for me. And like I said, we'll see you in Columbus, my friend.
Sounds great, man. I'll see you there. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Let's do it.
All right. Take care, brother. Be safe, man.